Investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky in Tucson again tonight.
Tonight, with the search for Nancy Guthrie now entering its third week and with the country still praying she's found, her daughter Savannah is making a direct appeal to the person who took her mother. 2 weeks of pain evident on Savannah's face.
And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. Of every human being. And it's never too late.
The Today Show host who has spoken of the nightmare her family's going through, hoping the kidnapper will consider giving her mother back.
Consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes, because that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So it detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Phoebe County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh, let me pause this real quick here. In 1 second. All right, let me know how I sound in chat. And as always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the show. I thought I would change things up. I know we cover Sebastian a lot, but it'd be nice to kind of cover a different case. And I know this case has garnered a lot of attention. And it is a wild case. And I'm trying to catch up. So please be kind and be patient. I've kind of saw certain stuff throughout the past couple weeks, but I've never deep dived into this case. So I'm pretty sure you guys probably know more than I do if you have followed this case. If you haven't, we'll kind of go over the timeline just because it's first time covering on this channel. But we'll deep dive into some of the suspects, their surveillance video. There's a couple of things. I'm sure most people have pointed out every little detail there is because it's been out for over a week or so. But there are a few things that I've noticed I'm not sure that have been pointed out or not. So we will cross that bridge when we get there. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Let's see. Just checking chat for a second. If you can, hit that like button if you haven't already. Riru says this case has my attention 24/7. Yeah. Yeah, I need to play catch up. Like I said, I know the basic details, which again, since it's the first time covering it, I will kind of go over the timeline. I know probably 90% of you know it by heart. But for anybody that doesn't know, trying to get back to my starting point here. We have Savannah Guthrie, who is well known for being the co-host for the Today Show. Her mother, Nancy Guthrie, age 84, pictured here on the right. Let me just get this window a little bit better here. Was abducted on February 1st of this month. And there has, although there is evidence, she still has not been found. And sadly, we're on, what is it, day 20 or day 19? One of the two. But here we are nearly 3 weeks later. So anyway, a few details and the timeline just to go over. Let's see here. Make sure I got it up here. A little bit about Nancy. She grew up, and I think the family as well was raised up in Arizona. She has, I believe, 3 children. Correct me if I'm wrong. She was married, and then her husband, I don't know why this popped up so fast. Let's see, was it Charles? I'm trying to get all the names because there's so many. Yeah, 3 children, Annie, Cameron, and of course Savannah, who is well known. They moved to Tucson area in the 70s. Nancy herself has lived there for 5 decades. Her husband Charles died suddenly at age 49. I believe she's been a widow ever since. And so now to the timeline. Let me just check chat here for a second. Anyway, okay, so on January 31st, we have Nancy Guthrie being dropped off via an Uber to her daughter's home, Anna Guthrie.
About 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family. Just visiting.
Then a few hours later,
and we know that because we have a garage door, and we were told by the family that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m.
And correct me if I'm wrong, she is dropped off, instead of taking an Uber back, she is dropped off by the son-in-law, Tommaso? Is that how you pronounce it? And
at 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes. It is that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed.
So there is pictured there is Tommaso Cioni, the son-in-law and husband to Annie, the daughter, one of the daughters of Nancy. And then a few hours later is when an intruder comes in at the early morning at around 1 a.m.
But there's no video of.
I tried to get no video of just right with the sheriff.
Detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but
thanks, Dan.
That's what it says. So that detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that.
Now, of course, this press conference was week 1, so I don't think the surveillance had been released until after. I think it was a few days after the press conference where they released some still shots. I think they recovered some of the video from the Ring camera that was destroyed.
We just have no video, but we're not giving up on that. 228, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone.
So she is abducted sometime around 2 a.m. Pacemaker disconnects shortly after 2 a.m., which means she is likely away from the home. I believe the Apple Watch, and I'm assuming any cellular devices were left behind that belonged to her, so they couldn't trace her. and that is why her pacemaker app disconnected. Be curious to know what the distance is on that, as far as the app and her pacemaker. That's something I should look up. Unless somebody knows in chat. Of course, surveillance footage of the intruder on the right, and then when they first released the crime scene, news reporters walked up to the home and found that there was still
Rewrite itself,
blood.
but it just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So the detects.
Yeah, I think it's a guy myself.
Could that
but
be an
you
animal?
never know.
I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video, but we're not giving up on that.
I tried to cut this up to where the timeline come up, and with Sheriff speaking with the timeline, kind of combined in it here. I think it's pretty neat that they were able to get the video.
228.
Considering that it
Nancy's
was
pacemaker.
allegedly she didn't have a backup subscription. So basically it just rewrites over itself. So I think they're very lucky that they got this and were able to recover what they did.
App shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units. In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here, or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team and part of this investigative effort. I think with that, let me make sure.
So looking up the distance from a pacemaker to the device, the app, whatever device, either it was the Apple Watch or phone, looks like it's 30 feet. So, yeah, so that's probably from the street to the home. I'd have to look up the distance. That's approximate, but probably at best.
I want to clarify some things that I may have already done, but yeah, I've gone over with the blood at the.
So then we have they apparently got a bunch of ransoms. Most of them seem to be fake, but the first one or two that were sent to local news outlets, as far as we know, at least one of them had certain details that only the intruders would know, intruder or intruders, which was the Apple Watch and the porch lights. Correct me if I'm wrong in that chat. I don't know exactly what details were released at the very beginning. But as far as I know, none of these have been actually released to the media, other than it had a deadline. The original one having, I think, February 5th, or by 5 p.m. And then I believe I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was the 5th and then the 9th, both at 5 p.m. Oh, it's right there in front of me. And then we move on. A few days later, more ransoms come in, but I believe the rest of those, or at least most of those, were fake. A lot of them went into TMZ, and one guy would be arrested, actually, but not connected. So according to the research I got, and again, I know this when you pull up data on AI, certain different AIs, you may get different results. But from what I understand, some kind of Bitcoin demand by 5 p.m. on February 5th, 4 million is what I've seen a couple times. And then if they didn't pay it, it would escalate 2 more million to 6 million by 5 p.m. again. 4 days later, they claimed that she was safe, but okay. But if they did not meet their demands, she would meet severe consequences, sadly. Ooh, I have a question. What if her heart stopped in home? Would that cause the Bluetooth to disconnect? I don't think it would cause the Bluetooth to disconnect, but it's a good question. Looking that up right now. So it will stop receiving data, likely triggered a disconnection or no signal alert to monitor clinic. So it would, obviously, I'm assuming because it's an app, the second it triggered a disconnection or no signal. Well, this is interesting because what happens to the Apple show? Oh, I guess because Wi-Fi can be finicky, it wouldn't automatically call, alert authorities or the ambulance. But yeah, it would lose. It would just come up as disconnection, no signal. So yeah, that's a good question because you'd think that if it did stop and if it knew it stopped, that it would just alert, 911. But apparently not. Um, at least not what I see, Sandy. I could be, again. I do not know. I've never known anybody with that. So just a little bit of Google. It just says disconnect, no signal. Um, yeah, you would think that at the very least they would like call you or something. But clearly, in this case, they wouldn't know until almost 12 hours, well, 10 hours later. So that's too bad. So there's the porch lights. I believe these are porch lights. I'm sorry, floodlights that were tampered with, and um, that is one of the things that was in the original ransom details. That allegedly the intruder or intruders would have known. And so moving on, and then it looks like they did. Clearly, they must have been tampered with because TMZ posted this showing that they were taken down. So I'm assuming they believed that they were handled and maybe trying to get some kind of DNA evidence off them would be my suggestion or my theory on that. Your dad's a little house. Yeah, so that's weird. I wonder why. I guess if it like stops and it knows that the pacemaker stopped, then maybe that would alert 911. But if you get like a disconnect or no signal, then maybe that's like a gray area. Carolyn says her Apple Watch, it was still in the house, right? Connect with that, goes off to the company. I'm sure of it. Yeah, yes, and it says my alerts. So maybe there's if your thing gets, if it stops, then it gets alerts 911 or whatever. Or maybe with, like I said, disconnect, maybe that's a little bit of a gray area. But again, that's out of my area of expertise. So continuing with the ransom, again, I'm trying to like combine a bunch of stuff in because I know you guys know much more than I do. Of course, a guy, Derek Kalala. I probably butchered that. Anyway, he's a piece of crap. Arrested for one of these fake ransoms that may have gone to TMZ. I think there's been at least 5 or more total ransoms. I believe 1 or 2 may be real. Alan says it depends on the pacemaker. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a bunch of different factors with that. But yeah, you would think at the very least, even a disconnect or no signal, that somebody would be alerted. Kind of like when somebody breaks into your home, or like you accidentally set off your alarm in your home. You get a call like, "Hey, is everything okay?" So that's too bad. Something like that wasn't set up. So moving on. Let's see here. So again, I'm just trying to kind of, again, for anybody that's just tuning in, this is the first time covering it on this channel, so I'm just kind of going over the timeline, not excruciating details for everything, but just trying to cover all the important ones. So then we have February 4th, so we're 4 days out, 3 days. And so if you recall the demands, if the original one is from the actual abductors or abductors, this would have been 1 day before the deadline. And here is Savannah and the 3 siblings.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She's 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We love you, Mom.
Michelle says no kidnappers is going to take what it not take is going to not take what is to keep only thing that will gain the objective, the money. They left meds behind and pacemaker turned off. Well, the pacemaker itself was not turned off. It just disconnected from the app. For anybody that may not may be confused with that, the pacemaker has a little device and it sends a signal to an app. Obviously, you have to be within 30 or less feet from the device, from the app. But obviously, that would still be going. But yeah, the medication, that is a big one. From what I understand, she needed, I don't know what exact medication, but something that she needed daily. And again, for anybody that has not followed this case, again, we have Savannah in the middle, the one that is co-host of the Today Show, and then we have the sister Annie on the left, and then Cameron, on the right. Now we'll get into Annie because there is a lot of controversy with Annie and being a possible connection to this whole thing, and we'll definitely get into that. And again, just retracing the timeline, Nancy was at Annie's home. They were playing games on January 31st, and then we have Tomasio, the son-in-law, dropping Nancy off at around 8 p.m. And then that was the last time she was seen.
We love you, Mom. Stay.
And then I just wanted to note that it's February 4th, and it does make me think at least that original demand is somewhat legit because the first deadline was on February 5th. Again, I apologize. I know a lot of you guys probably know this stuff, but I'm playing catch up.
Strong.
So then we move to February 5th. They researched Nancy's home for several hours, collecting additional evidence. And then, of course, we have that deadline. Then February 6th through the 9th, I think somewhere in there is when we get the press conference. Now, I'm sure most of you guys have seen that. I'm only going to play just a few small clips from that, just where they were asking a few questions. I have not gotten to the Silence of the Lambs thing. I wanted to kind of dive into that, but I just had not had a chance to because there's so many avenues, and it's been nearly 3 weeks. So I'm still playing catch up. Oh, thanks, Joel. Yeah, that's a wild case, and again, it's tough to kind of jump into a case that's it's very popular, and I'm trying to play catch up, but we'll get there. Wait for February 10th for just a second here. Oh, I guess I flipped it around. On February 10th, so a few days after the press conference, FBI would release a Nest doorbell camera showing the one of the possible suspects or suspect. I noticed there is, from what I could find, there's like 2 different sources, one from Savannah herself, and then the one that I found on Facebook from FBI Director Cash. You can see at the top. One is 35 seconds long, and then the other one's, I think, 26 seconds long. I think the one that's got the FBI Director Cash has got a little bit more in it than the one that I've seen from Savannah's Instagram, unless there's like another one that I missed at the top. We'll definitely deep dive more into this whole video. As a lot of you guys know, I love breaking down these videos and trying to find any clues. And I know
We are aware of a ransom letter that was sent to the local.
Since we are nearly 3 weeks out, I think just about everything that could be has been pointed out, but you never know what could have been missed on those videos. Let's see. That's a great question, Michelle. Yeah, it seems like a big risk. Big risk reward for sure. So does that play more into maybe these people didn't know all of her underlying health conditions? They just knew that maybe it's the mother to Savannah, and they'd likely get a big ransom, but didn't know about the her health conditions, which would be very complicated. So that would lean towards more of an outside job, versus close family members or extended family members. So I think you bring up a great comment there. Thanks, Sassy. Yeah, we will definitely break down that video. I know it's been broken down. I'm curious to see. Like I said, I did a lot of research as much as I could on that video of what people have seen, but again, there's just way too many channels, and there's just no way I could look at every single thing. But I did my own due diligence.
Local media, and then to national.
So here's just, I think, like 5 minutes of the press conference. This is just where they're answering the questions at the end, which is usually the most interesting stuff. 9 out of 10 times, where they really don't answer any questions, but I think there's 1 or 2 that are interesting.
Outlets. As with every lead, we are taking it seriously. We are in communication with the family, and while we advise and recommend from a law enforcement perspective, any action taken on any ransom is ultimately decided by the family.
Some people think female.
Thank you to those in the community that have called in tips. For anyone out there that may have information, no matter how small you think it may be, please report it. You can do so by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov.
Yeah,
My
we'll
next
take a
message
look at
is
that.
to those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation. We will investigate and ensure you are
That's so
held accountable
disgusting.
for your actions. We have made 1 arrest related to an imposter ransom demand, and a
Good.
complaint will be presented to a magistrate judge later today. You will get more on that from the FBI and our U.S. Attorney's Office here in Arizona when it becomes available. To anyone that may be involved, do the right thing.
Oh, I
This is an
say,
84-year-old grandma. This is an 84-year-old grandma that needs vital medication for her well-being. You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a much worse scenario for you. Please return Nancy home. Thank you.
Now it depends on what you mean by alarm, Scott. So we see the intruder somewhere around almost just before 2 a.m. And then as far as like authorities being alerted, it wasn't until like, I think, because she was supposed to do like a church service, like, like via Zoom or whatever. And she missed that. And so I think it was just before noon that they alerted. Yeah, thanks, Ellen. Yeah, so taking around 2 a.m. and then, wasn't alerted until 8 hours later, I guess. Yeah, 8 or 9.
Okay, so the first person we're going to start with the list is going to be NBC National, Liz Prince. Right here.
Can you walk us through that timeline from when you believe, if you look at this here, from 147 to 228, what you think happened there, and what particular software would have detected somebody on camera?
Yeah, I don't. I know we know the software that was there, but I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm just not in the weeds. I know that. Think of your doorbell cameras. Somebody walks up. My wife's. If I walk up, she gets an alert, and it's usually something like that. A person's detected.
So to understand them both, one, does that mean that it was about a 45-minute span that this suspect or suspects would have been on the property? And then also, does this essentially mean that you cooperated with the tech companies and you can officially say that no surveillance video is available from the home?
We know that the tech company that we sent that camera off to, yes, they've said they've run out of ways to recover any video.
Next person's going to be ABC News, Aaron Katersky.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Was what 45 minutes?
Can we say it's about a 45-minute span that somebody would have been on the property then, from 147 to 228?
Yeah, I think those times speak for themselves, and it is about, like I say, those are approximates. So yes. I'm sorry. Who was next? Did you say?
Aaron Katersky, ABC News.
Yeah, I gotta write that down. Sorry, I'm trying to do some math in my head.
That you are purposefully withholding because of the active investigation that might be leading you in a particular direction.
You know, this is no different than any criminal investigation that we conduct here. Law enforcement has conducted investigations since 1865 here in Pima County. We're always mindful of what it is that's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. So, I'll leave that for you to determine.
Now that you are having such an injection of manpower from the Pima critical incident team and the FBI, we be slow to bring that in at the outset. Should all of these resources be brought to bear sooner?
I guess that it's Monday morning quarterbacking. I do it all the time, so you have the opportunity to do it for me. I'll take that hit.
CBS News, Jonathan Liotti.
Sheriff over here.
Okay, I think there's about 3 more minutes. Again, this is just at the very end, him answering some questions. I think most of them, or half of them at least, you can't, again, for a lot of us true crimers, we know that these press conferences don't reveal too much. But I do think there's a few interesting details. The timeline, obviously, very important. I'm going to go full screen for just a second. I want to pull up something behind the scenes. So I'm going to go full screen real quick so I can try to get this math down real quick on this timeline real quick.
Has there been any proof of life, and has there been any sign of life?
I'm going to, anything to deal with the ransom notes and that, I would defer to the FBI, but no, to my knowledge, we're still looking for Nancy.
And for my follow-up question, if I can speak with the special agent, what was it about this apparent ransom note that now 3 days on, you first haven't been able to validate, and second, it warranted informing the Guthries of his existence?
So the ransom note that was sent out there, obviously every lead in this case we are taking extremely serious.
But not everyone is presented to the family. Why this one?
Because this was the ransom that came in and it had facts associated with a deadline, with a monetary value they were asking for. So at that point...
What were some of those facts, if you can, because there's been a lot of speculation, as you know, if you can set the record straight.
Yeah, the ransom itself, one talked about an Apple Watch and one talked about a floodlight. We're not going to go into specifics. It's very important that we keep this investigation moving forward, and we don't want to put more facts out there that others then can use to try to profit from this.
CNN, next, Ed Lavandera.
Agent, I want to follow up with you real quick on that. There have been, as far as we know, I think 3 ransom notes so far, 1 arrest. Are they all different? Do you think there's different authors behind all of them, or?
So the one that went to the media is the one we are currently investigating and working on. The imposter that I talked about, where an arrest was made early this morning, that there will be more information. We believe there's no evidence to connect this to Nancy's case. It was someone that was trying to profit from it, a total imposter.
And Sheriff, you started off the press conference by saying you believe that Nancy is still out there. Do you have reason to believe that she's still out there alive, or are you fearful of the worst case scenario here, that she won't be found alive?
Well, I'm certainly fearful of that. I think we all are. But it is we operate from a position that until we know she's out there, she's alive, and we're going to continue thinking that way until we find her.
Fox Digital, Mike Reese.
Yeah, sir. Mike Reese from Fox Digital. Sheriff, you said you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that my investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't. But no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then later I learn something else? No.
So my follow-up, you mentioned that you don't know where the reporting of a forced entry came from. Do we know how whoever did this got into her house?
That I would not discuss with you anyway.
Fox News, Paul Morrow.
Question for Agent Edwards, if I may. Agent Edwards, will the Bureau be submitting the DNA for investigative genealogical investigation relative to maybe getting a relative, somebody if you will?
I would say the DNA aspect of this case is being handled by the Pima County Sheriff's Department right now. However, should we get to that point, yes, that would be an option for the FBI to assist.
And a quick follow-up, does the ransom note that you're working establish any communication protocols in it?
No, it does not. And that is what I think is important, that if someone has Nancy and is demanding the ransom, that there is communication with the family. We talked.
Okay, so I was just doing a little bit of math on the from when the doorbell detected something to when the pacemaker app disconnects. Then I gotta add in the 212. Okay, give me one more second. I'm still just gonna stay right here.
There has been no proof of life, and there was no other demands within that letter. So they're still waiting for communication.
ABC affiliate, Ashley Holden.
Right here, Ashley Holden. When you say the doorbell camera was disconnected, do you believe that camera was taken?
We do not have it in our possession. We've not located.
And then a follow-up. I know that we've been hearing a lot about ransom notes. We were also hearing in that video that was put out by the Guthrie siblings, and I don't know if this is a question for the FBI or yourself, but the challenges of seeing an image and knowing that it's real. Could one of you address that? Has the family received correspondence, any images, videos?
So we're not going to go into facts regarding this part of the investigation. I think part of that message was, with AI these days, you can make videos that appear to be very real. So we can't just take a video and trust.
Yeah, that's kind of scary with AI and what they can do. Angel Light, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. That helps out this channel out so much. I've missed a lot this month, and I do apologize. Try to make up for that. And Elizabeth, thank you so much for says over a year now for your support. Thank you so much, and it means the world. And Denise, you're doing a fantastic job. Chris, be well. Thank you so much, Denise. God bless you. Truly, truly helps me out. So I think that's about the end here, which gives me some time to do a little bit of math. Oh, that was it. Is that it? Yeah, that was it. Okay. So then we move on here. So then we have, let's see, is it the doorbell, Ring camera, which gets released just after the press conference a few days later. I think first we had images, and then the biggest video I've seen was the Kash Patel one, which was 35 seconds. It's kind of weird how some of it's the one with the Kash Patel one that I found on Facebook. It's kind of edited weird. I don't know if that's because how they had to retrieve it. That's how it just came back when they were retrieving what little data they could from that Ring camera. It's amazing they got that. I know I remember them detaining a couple of different people, but there was no connection. I think one of them maybe Ransom, and I think the other one may have been because of Google searches, if I recall. And yes, thank you, Kitty Hawk. Yes. So they started out 50,000, and I think it went up to 100,000, and then we had another entity. I think it's what, 2 or 3 different people altogether. It's combined 2,200 or 200,000 and $2,500.
So some flushed down the toilet.
Then as we move into, I think week 2, or actually this might even still have been week 1. I was trying to get everything in order because again, I'm playing catch up. I thought this was interesting that they were searching the septic tank. And if you're wondering why they were searching that, I don't think they believed that she was put down there. But I find this interesting is the fact that they were searching that not because they thought she was down in there, but they believed the evidence, when you flush your toilet, that this particular place has a septic tank that would, any evidence that could have been flushed down the toilet could be retrieved from the septic tank. So I believe that's what they were doing in there.
Investigators were spotted searching the septic tank in the backyard of Nancy Guthrie's home on February 8th, as the search for Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's missing 84-year-old mom entered its 8th day without any suspects. According to a former law enforcement official, investigators may have been looking for potential clues that were flushed down the toilet. A lot of people forget that having a septic tank means wastewater doesn't go into a city sewer, it goes into the tank, former SWAT team captain Josh Sherrard told the Daily Mail. So somebody may have flushed something thinking that would get rid of it, but instead it would actually just be deposited in the septic tank. It is a possibility that investigators are now trying to make sure that there's nothing in there that could indicate any kind of guilt, he continued. The renewed search of the home comes one day after Savannah and her siblings released another plea on video to their mother's supposed abductor, offering to pay a ransom for Nancy's safe return.
We received your message.
So assuming if the intruder was likely there for about 25 minutes before he entered the home, if all the math and the timestamps are correct, the doorbell originally, or Ring camera, I'm sorry, captures something at 147, and then the next thing is at 212, it's disconnected. So assuming that all takes place without the intruder going in, then they're there for approximately 25 minutes doing that. And then that would leave another 16 minutes before the pacemaker gets disconnected at 228. 228. So there would be time to flush something for sure.
And we understand. We beg you now,
to return our mother to us.
I think 3 to 5 people. I think definitely 2 for sure.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Guthrie did not elaborate in the brief video on what message she was referring to, or if it was one of the purported ransom notes sent to media outlets. Shocking details were revealed about one purported note by TMZ boss Harvey Levin, which was sent to the outlet 2 days after Savannah Guthrie's mom was reported missing.
But I will say the letter begins by saying she is safe but scared. And they go on to say she knows exactly what the demand is.
Levin told Fox News' Sean Hannity that the note highlighted insider details about her suspected abduction, including information about her Apple Watch and a damaged floodlight at her $1 million home. It isn't clear if the purported note sent to TMZ was the same as the ones received by local Arizona affiliates. According to a letter received by local station KGUN9, the potential kidnappers demanded that the Guthries pay $6 million in Bitcoin, and that Nancy Guthrie's life is in peril if the deadline, set for 5 p.m. local time on Monday, February 9th, isn't met, the outlet reported.
I will say, and I guess you could go both ways. I guess you could say that this would lean towards outsiders because, as I believe it was Michelle, I know there's a couple of Michelles in here, noted that, yeah, why would you take someone that, has so many, health risks, that, obviously the risk reward for that. But then you could also look at the other way that, well, if it was close family members, maybe they would have that medication. They would already have it. If they were planning this before, obviously knew what she would need, and then would have that wherever they were keeping her. So I guess you could look at it both ways. The Blue Third, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. God bless you, sweetheart. It says, hi, Chris. Good to see you, Blue Third.
One Arizona news anchor who saw the possible Nancy Guthrie ransom note told CNN it was clear after a couple of sentences that it might not be a hoax.
A lot of it is information that only someone who is holding her for ransom would know. Some very sensitive information and things that people who weren't there when she was taken captive would know.
Mary Coleman, an anchor for Arizona-based CNN affiliate KOLD 13 News, also revealed that the note had come via email and that police were searching for an IP address. This came after Savannah and her siblings Annie and Cameron made a tearful appeal for their mother's safe return via Instagram on the evening of February 4th.
We are ready.
And then moving on, and we're going to get into the surveillance here in a bit, but then in the 2-week mark, we have more collection of DNA, blood samples, and then the glove found near the home, which I believe was a little over a mile away south of the home. And then, of course, several ransom notes in that time as well. All or most of them likely fake. Mainly DNA. And then, of course, DNA found inside the home. I think I have an evidence thing here coming up. I thought this was very interesting. After they were there at the first time, it looks like they left some of the evidence behind. One of the news outlets walked up and noticed that there were still blood droplets, indicating that sadly Nancy was harmed when being taken out of her home. And there is like a blood expert that I did pull a small clip from, because I think the blood forensics is interesting.
Could belong to a suspect.
12 News journalist
Evidence found 3 weeks ago and
Okay, this must be the evidence part of it. And then we'll get to the video here in just a little bit.
84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was kidnapped nearly 3 weeks ago, and right now a big part of the investigation is focused on DNA evidence found inside of her home. The sheriff told NBC News that DNA could belong to a suspect.
12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra live now outside Nancy's home with the latest on this investigation. Now, here we go. Again, getting close to 3 weeks here, Gabby.
Well, Troy Caribe, detectives are still waiting on that DNA evidence to be analyzed. That was the latest update we got from the sheriff just a little over an hour ago. But they do want to make it clear this is not new DNA evidence. This was collected from their original time processing the scene. Now, I spoke with Sheriff Nanos the other day, and he tells me they collected a lot of DNA from inside of Nancy Guthrie's home, but some of it was mixed. So this is a process where they need to separate it before it can fully be analyzed and identified to a single.
I wonder if mixed means that means there, I mean, clearly there had to have been a struggle. There's blood coming out the front door. So maybe there was, when the abductor was trying to take, or abductors trying to take Nancy out of the home, she tried to fight back and they used some kind of brute force, sadly. And maybe so. Mixed DNA, I mean, the one individual suspect we see is fully decked out with gloves and a ski mask. Unless spit. The only other DNA I would think is some kind of other blood, right? A mix of DNA. Let me know what you guys think in chat, but unless a hair follicle fell out or something else, I don't know what, because the guy was wearing gloves. I don't know what other DNA there would be.
Single person. But we know apart from Nancy's DNA, at least one other profile was found inside the scene, and it doesn't belong to anyone close to Nancy. There's also DNA evidence found on a glove about 2 miles from Nancy's home. That sample has been run through CODIS, but it didn't.
Oh, that's a great comment, Lisa. Right. Yeah, and we'll get to the flashlight. The flashlight is very interesting. Yeah, having something in your mouth like that. I don't know if that make your mouth salivate, but yeah, maybe to spit out the flashlight, and yeah, by doing that, just by flashlight coming off and coming in contact with the ground. Yeah, maybe it came out of his mouth on accident. I'm sure it'd have saliva on it. Yeah, that's a great comment, Lisa. I bet you that's a great possibility.
Have any matches so far. So the sheriff confirms they'll be exploring genetic genealogy, trying to find family members of the person it belongs to. And a retired Phoenix police commander tells me the timing of that process can vary.
Nothing as simplistic as we want it to be. We wish it was, but from an investigative standpoint, it could be immediate and it could be weeks, depending on how far down into that data material they go.
Then we're almost caught up here. And of course we'll touch on some of the other stuff and of course the suspects. Yeah, man detained on February 10th, but was cleared. And then the reward eventually got up to $200,000. I know with the $100,000 from, I believe, the FBI, and then another one. And again, I can't remember if it's from 3 different people. But that's amazing. The more the merrier, right? We're touching the glove with this DNA. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, unless he's going to swallow the flashlight, or just keep it in his mouth. Right, he would probably have to come in contact with that flashlight. And then if he touched her or made contact with the blood, if he hit her over the head, saliva's on the hand or something, or if he touched the table or something. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are here too. I know usually we have more people, but it's kind of nice to have just a small crowd. Especially when I'm learning a new case, because I always know I'm way behind, especially on bigger cases like this.
Here, the sheriff's department news that.
Okay, so we're almost to the video. Then we have the glove. I know I already mentioned that. But that was found, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I don't think the glove's related, but it is from an unknown male. Not in the
investigators lifted the DNA of an unknown male profile from
Let
a
me know,
glove
Chad.
found along roadside brush about.
Let me know if you think the glove is related. And if you don't know, and I'm sure most of you know, they found tons of gloves, like full pairs of gloves used all throughout when they were searching. But this one did kind of resemble the one that the guy was wearing, but I don't think they were. I think because of her condition, she was put into a vehicle very quickly. So I don't know why you would ditch your gloves, like a mile away from the home. It'd make no sense. If you made it to the vehicle and you get away, I don't know why you're ditching stuff out the window. There's no way intruders are carrying this poor lady, through the desert. That doesn't make any sense at all. I don't think it's related, but there's always a possibility.
2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. The gloves appearing to genetically match the kind worn by the suspect caught on Guthrie's doorbell camera the night she disappeared. The sheriff's department sent the gloves to a private lab in Florida, and the FBI is awaiting the results of quality control tests before putting the male profile into the FBI's national DNA database. Guthrie was last seen the night of January 31st when her family dropped her off at home after a game night. Joining me now for more is ABC News' Alex Stone with the latest from Tucson, Arizona, along with ABC News contributor and former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce. Alex, let's start with you. A potential big break in this case with authorities confirming a DNA match with that glove found along the side of the road. What more do we know at this hour?
Yeah, Andrew, it could be if it does pan out. They don't know. They tell us 16 gloves have been found around the area in Pima County as they have been searching around. Most of those have been gloves that belong to either search and rescue team members or detectives. But there is this one glove that is generically very similar to what was seen in the doorbell video camera. But they don't know. They're going to put the DNA results that they got into what's called CODIS, a national FBI database, to see if they get any hit off of it. But it could just be roadside debris as well. They don't know what it is yet. They're hoping that it's something, but it may be nothing in the end.
Robert, let's get to you. Now that authorities have a DNA match of some kind with the kind of gloves worn by the suspect caught on Guthrie's doorbell camera, what's the next step in this search? Walk us through the whole process of eliminating people or even considering people as suspects.
Andrew, it's a lead right now, and that's all it is. We'll see how it goes from here. So understand that it takes a while to develop a profile and then put it in the CODIS. That's why I kind of question why I went to Florida, but we'll work with that within that.
Now, when they say a DNA match, does that mean it matches to some kind of evidence at the thing? Did I miss something here? Or are they wording this weird? I understand the CODIS. They don't know what the DNA is of any of the evidence, but they do have obviously an unidentified male in the home, or suspect DNA in the home, that is not in the CODIS space. I'm just curious what they mean by connection. Sassy, thank you so much for gifting a Mob Crew membership, and God bless you for everything you do for this channel and all my wonderful mods. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
Framework and get it as soon as possible. We don't know where it's going to take us. There's also DNA from the house itself. We don't know where it was recovered in the house, but we have a sheriff saying it was there. You want to compare that immediately. Right now, it's just a lead. It's a roadside object, and you should look at it. There's no question.
Okay, so the video evidence here. Yeah, usually, yeah, when it's, yeah, apparently they have a really good forensic lab. Just been, from covering true crime, if I recall, there's at least a few cases where they sent stuff to Texas or Florida. All right, so now the video, and again, I know most people have broken everything down, but just in case you have not seen this case, and of course this is the first time I've really examined it. This is a Google Nest camera likely a ring cam that has what they call nighttime mode. So that's why, certain whites or lighter colors will reflect, almost look like they're glowing. That's just from the camera setting. We can see the guy has his gun, which appears to be ready to go with his right hand. So, unfortunately, this guy is right-handed. So, and using his dominant hand, trying to cover the camera. I noticed someone believes that they see a ring under the glove. I can't quite tell, but some people think they see a ring indentation. I think it's tough to tell because, we only really see the glove and the hand when it's kind of bent. I believe they're talking about the right hand, right? I think he's got a tattoo. That'd be interesting because one of the suspects, or I should say suspects, I'm sorry, person of interest from the community has a tattoo on his left wrist. I have to go back and look. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say. Unless they're talking about the ring finger, which I'm assuming they probably are. I have not been able to see that. I mean, I've seen screenshots. We could probably pull one up. I'm sure I could go snag one real quick. He's got the Ozark backpack. And then for those that have followed me with the Sebastian Rogers case, if you guys remember with the green hoodie trying to figure out who that person is and the height, I just made a suggestion, wouldn't be a bad idea to just measure the bricks because just, seems like a rational thing to do. And they actually went out. There's a video. I wasn't able to grab it, but they were able to measure the archway. And of course, with him walking close to those bricks, they were able to determine that this guy is somewhere between 5'8", 5'10", I believe. Let me grab. We'll go back to the ring here in a second because I haven't been able to see it again. But not to say it's not there. I'm sure I can find a screenshot of somebody, pausing it at a certain spot. But I'm pretty sure somebody, I don't know why I said right pocket. Well, I don't know if anyone's pointed this out, but there's something, and it's not in his right pocket. I don't know why I put right pocket. I guess that's my dyslexia coming out. But there's clearly something in his left pocket. There's no doubt. You can clearly see there is a bulge. I don't know if they would be bold enough to have a cell phone. I highly doubt it, because they could geofence it. Maybe it's a weapon, but there is, in my opinion, there is definitely something in that left pocket. I apologize for the annotation here, but there's definitely something sticking out. Almost looks like he went to kind of grab it. It's hard to tell in the right pocket when he turns because it kind of Makes the lighting go away. Oh, you think he's double gloved? That's probably smart. God, what movie did that? I'm sure there's multiple movies that have done that. Anyway. Yeah, there's something. I mean, it could be a phone. I highly doubt it. If they've gotten away for this long, but who knows? I'm curious about the shoes. That's something I haven't had a lot of time to examine, but there's some stuff in the background that I want to point out here. Yes, grab the foliage. So this is the home that we're looking at. The garage is here. Most of you know. Lexi says the material on the backpack looks slicker and thinner than the Ozark backpack to me. I can't see the Ozark logo. Wouldn't it show up considering it's stitched on this shiny material? Good question. I haven't spent a lot of time. It seems like they're almost convinced with the backpack being Ozark. So I just kind of took them for their word on that one. Maybe I'd have to go and look at it more closely if we decide to continue covering this. Is it Dexter? Probably would be Dexter. I love Dexter. I love that show. That probably sounds about right. But this flashlight, I think this is what is likely the DNA that's mixed with Nancy's DNA. I think a lot of you guys hit it on the head. So when I first saw this, I thought just because, again, anything that's light will reflect in a certain way. At first, when I first saw this, I thought that he had like some kind of cap or something on his tooth or teeth or like a grill, and it was just reflecting. But no, he's got a flashlight in his mouth. Awesome. I guess he's trying to feed the Ring camera some foliage. So here's some screenshots. One, and I know this will get a little controversial. One where it shows his mustache. And I find this interesting. So the thing I find very interesting is between these two shots, it tells me this flashlight, clearly whatever it is, unless we miss it, him taking it out of his mouth. I mean, that's possible. He's got it like in his mouth. So it's got to be, they have what's called Illuma Bite, but I think that one's kind of big. Shoot, that was supposed to stay up a little bit longer. So I was trying to look up flashlights that, super small. They have this one, but if you notice, that's where your teeth go. And so that thing would be sticking out like that far out, but he doesn't have that. Again, I haven't had a long time to research this case, but I think something more like this that this person has. It's a keychain flashlight called Pocket Mate. I'm sure there's other different designs in there. We'll talk about the background, Angela. I do believe there is, and we may be thinking of the same thing. Good catch. Yeah, the backpack is full. This is interesting. Is it full of stuff that is like tools to break into the home? But yeah, let me know what you think in the chat, because clearly he has his mouth closed here, and it doesn't look like, it's super fast. It's when he's first blocking it. It's before the foliage, but it's when he's blocking it. There's a short clip or short frame where he's got his mouth closed, which means that flashlight, 9 out of 10, not 99% sure, is in his mouth. So whatever that thing is, it's got to be super tiny. Because again, if we go back, this is when he's just blocking it, and I don't see him.
Potential break. Suspect caught on Guthrie's doorbell camera. Suspect caught
within.
So it's like right. So his left hand is open. This one's just like a second behind. I tried to line him up. But his left hand's open. Pretty sure the flashlight's not in his right hand. No, because we can see what's in his right hand. So that flashlight has to be no bigger than, it's got to be tiny. It's a Ninja Bite Light. Yeah, I didn't get to look up a lot of them. Like I said, I found some that were you could put your teeth around, but it still came out a bit. The only ones really that I found that like you could put in your mouth, like the whole entire thing, would be like a keychain flashlight. But yeah, maybe I'll look that up here in a second. So whatever he has clearly can fit inside his mouth. Thumb. That's his thumb. Pointer, middle. This would be the ring right here. But yes, there is something in the background, or multiple somethings in the background. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Ninja. What was that? Ninja. Sorry. I think it would make sense for it to, in just my opinion, to have like something like Walmart or something, it's where everybody buys. Like I'm 99% sure I have an Ozark backpack or something Ozark related. So, it's a man. I think it's a man too. But if anybody disagrees, please be respectful in chat. The mustache and the figure, but again, think about the case in Texas, the cold case. Oh gosh, I can't think of her name. With the stuff to say if it's a lady or guy, with the security person walking around in the church. So much footage of that person, but it's tough to tell if it's a female or male. They have kind of a weird gait. I can't think of her name. Shame on me. We even went to that church too, but I can't think of her name. I don't know. Just my opinion. I think it's a guy. Doesn't have much of a rear bottom. Us guys typically don't work our rear bottoms out much, so that plus the mustache. But again, never heard about a mouth flashlight either. I saw a few times. This is till this case. Yeah. The Ninja. What was that called? Ninja. With the G? Ninja Bite? Was it Ninja Bite? Ninja Bite Light. Okay. One second. Oh, the one that says bite me? So kind of same thing. It's like a keychain flashlight. Interesting. Yeah, that would fit. Bite me. I wonder if we could get the lumens on that. Yeah, I think it would be something like that or what I showed. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so moving on. Obviously the gun holster and stuff. I'm not a gun person, so I'm probably the worst person. Missy Beavers. Thank you, Denise. Yeah. I cannot believe that case has not been solved. But yeah, if it's one of those things that's it's small enough to fit in your mouth, but it's like probably a little bit too big to like accidentally swallow, you would choke on it, so you would need to kind of spit it out. Yeah, I definitely think that could be the DNA. Oh, thank you, Saucy. We're a team though. White foam covering. I think that's just the sleeve. His sleeves go up. That might just be. That's curious. I do see it. But I think we can all agree that yeah, that flashlight never came out of his mouth. It's left in there. Oh. So here is a negative on this, and I'll go full screen for a second, and I'm going to show you guys. So there are two things in the background, and there's two things that caught my attention. One I figured out, but the other one, at first I thought it was nothing, and then the more I started looking into it, I'm like, oh, this actually could be something. So I'm going to go full screen and see if you guys can see it. Bite me. But I did what I did with Sebastian Rogers, where I put it in the negative as well. I'm sure, everybody's ran this through all the different filters, but I did find out one thing that, again, I'm sure everybody has pointed out just about every detail, but you never know what somebody may have missed. So let me back this up right here. And then we'll definitely match up like some suspects and stuff as well. But I promise you guys will be interested in what's in the background. So doing the negative, it does kind of, it's interesting, reverses the color tone. But you're going to notice, so those are house lights back here. And then this caught my attention, this object here. And at first I thought, oh, is this a vehicle here? But it's not. But there's something else. But this definitely caught my attention in the beginning. Oh, why? Why is it doing that? It's weird. So here we are walking up to the home. Actually, maybe I should do this last. There is no clear distinction, excuse me, of any of his joints, like knees, etc., which makes you think layers. Oh, that's interesting. That would make sense. Layer up, make sure none of your DNA, go on full on Dexter or that one movie with Kevin Costner, where he's a serial killer. Can't think of the name, with Dane Cook in it. Good movie. So anyway, obviously these are home lights, and then this caught my attention because I thought, oh, well, maybe that is a vehicle, but it is not. But there is something else in the background. But first, we need to line up where we're looking at to decipher where everything's at. Oh, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Okay, so here we have Google Earth. Sorry, my cord for my mouse. I gotta find something to fix that. It's driving me nuts. So this is Nancy's home. There's the front. There is the porch. Now notice the way the porch is lined up. That is like our reference, right? The porch, the direction, because it's not quite lined up with the street that we see here. Keep that in mind. That's very important for what I'm going to talk about. So the camera is kind of facing like this. Even though we can't see it right now, the porch is really, if we go and look at top-down view, as you can see, the porch is almost going right at this sign here. Oh, what? Do you really have to do that to me? So, now I'm lost. Now I'm back. Okay. So the camera is really a little bit up, but again, keep in mind what I just told you about how the camera is kind of facing. You'll see here in just a second, there'll be lines kind of just imitating. Of course, it's not 100%. It's just kind of an approximate field of view. Again, it's really just more kind of the center part of the camera and the direction it's going. This is really important for what I'm going to point out here in just a second, because at first I brushed this off as just a home light, but I'm not sure now. So that's kind of our field of view, but it's actually much wider. Actually, I probably should have redid this. The right part of the camera goes way wider. I don't know why. I think I was just trying to show where this yellow sign is, but this will be important here in just a second. That house lights that we see, you'll notice, are directly just left of this object here in a second. So the camera's kind of like this in a sense. Again, remember this is Google, so I can't get the precise angle. I can't get right in front of the camera. So this is the best I can work with. But you'll notice that yellow sign, and you can see basically the bottom half of it. You can see the diamond, the bottom half of the diamond. Oh, actually, I'm jumping ahead. So as I go back, as you can see, do you guys see it now? That's the home. That's the road right here. And you can actually see in the negative, it actually, because I think there's maybe like some kind of foliage that maybe blocking that top part of the diamond of the street. But oh yeah, and what do you know? Exactly. So we're getting that, but this is where it gets interesting. And then that makes sense for the home lights that we see are from this home, which are the lights there, which is left of the diamond, right? We're all on board here. But then there's something to the right. And when I first saw it, I didn't think much of it. I thought maybe it was just pixelation. But then it popped up again, and it was more prominent. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe it's a house, because there is a house towards that direction, kind of. But then when you look at the terrain, we got an issue. So, and if you guys can, we've almost doubled our viewers, and I do appreciate everybody taking their Friday evening or wherever you're at, morning, afternoon. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. It really helps out this channel. Please consider supporting it, becoming a member, donating. Jennifer, member for 45 months. Happy Friday party, people. Love you. Thank you, Jennifer, for everything you have done for me and this channel and for this community. God bless you. Okay. So everybody's on board with where we're looking at, where the camera is. So obviously there's a home over here in this direction. I thought, oh, well, that's just maybe some light. So you're going to see here. And again, forget this line. I don't know what I was thinking. I was really just trying to get the diamond, trying to just kind of point out how the diamond's kind of in the center. And we're going to look at it in the negative and the regular here. And I may need to do a full screen too, just so you guys... Actually, let me go full screen so you guys can fully see it. It's 2 dots. Now, it starts as 1. They come in for a second. They go away. He comes into the frame again, and he backs out, and then you're going to see him come in again. Now, to me, this could be something interesting. Now, again, I could be wrong, but check this out, and I'll show you why I think this is interesting. So let me go full screen just so you guys can see it, just in case if you're on your cell phone, because it's super tiny. And again, because it's the first time covering this case, I'm trying to play catch up on it. Oh, and just one thing. Just make my mental note. Notice this road? Notice this road, how it goes up? Just keep a mental note, because that other home that's back here is higher up. That's important. Yeah, so that is lights that are likely. There's either two scenarios here. And hopefully you guys saw them, and I apologize if you're on your phone because they are tiny. And if you guys want, I could blow them up if you're interested. I could do a quick rundown on it. But that is, at first, again, when you look at the homes, again, this would be in this direction, and there is a home, but when you look at the elevation, well, we have an issue here because it's way up here, and whatever this light source or lights, they're just barely above this sign, just using basic geometry here. If we were to draw a straight line across, notice you see them come in for a second, and that's the other thing. Unless there was some wind, there's two explanations. Again, I got to play devil's advocate, right? But I looked up the weather, and I didn't see any. As far as I could see, again, I didn't get to really fully research because I was doing, again, this is my first time covering it. And I don't think there's much wind, if at all. I don't see any of these, any of the foliage moving at all. So typically static lights like these, notice none of these are blinking or doing anything. Normally, if you'd have some foliage, as we know in the Sebastian Rogers case, when we look at cemetery footage, I've shown you guys, it'll sit there and flicker. Notice these lights do not flicker at all. And these lights come in for a minute before he bends down, and then directly after he's bending down, you see one, even two almost come in just before his head comes up. And just interestingly enough, he looks towards that direction. Not exactly, but more or less. See them? They're still there. And he even looks that way. He even looks that way. So, you guys want me to break it down and blow it up? Let me know in the chat. I could do that. Seems like a lot of people are interested. But yeah, at first, again, I thought it could have been this home, but again, the other thing I didn't get a chance to do is run a line, but if we go back here, I could run a static line and show you guys that it's pretty much level with the street sign, the caution sign there. And you can see the height of this home, but these lights are below that. Should we blow it up? Yeah? Okay. All right. Take a closer look. As I can just get rid of all that. There's also something else that I did with this, but yeah. All right. Let's take the two negatives. Slow them down. And then let's zoom in more on that direction. So one's in the negative on the left here. So it's going to be about right there. You know what? Let's just do one at a time because I'll just end up playing with both of them. All right. So that is the area. You guys can see that. I'm going to go full screen and let this play once. Actually, let me, just in case anybody has trouble where we're looking, let me do this real quick here. So everybody knows where we're concentrated on. Oh yeah, we can see them a lot better. I wonder if I could clean it up too. There. Video color. Crank up the white. Turn down the black. Okay. There they are. Has this got both versions? Yeah, there they are. Okay. So they're there. They disappear. And that's the other thing is the fact that they disappear. Because if they were just static home lights, and if there's no wind, there should be no reason why those would disappear. There and there. And it's so wild that he looks that way too. Okay. I'll go full screen on this real quick. Interesting. That is fascinating. I need to put a static line in there because it looks like they move. Sorry, it's on the edge of the screen. I'll have to do a static line on this. Yeah. That is wild. I have to do a short video on that. Anyway, one last time, and then we'll move on here, and so I can read the comments here. You think they shut lights off? It's tough to say. I mean, they're clearly. I'd have to do some measurements and stuff as far as the distance, but yeah, I'm gonna have to do this both and negative and the other one, because the negative also kind of highlights it in a different way as well, because you can see them, and you can tell again if I were to do a static line that they are right here. I have to run a static line, and the street kind of goes at an angle, so it'd be kind of like that. But again, you look at where this home is at, and that other home is, it is around here, to be fair. But it's just so weird that they come in and come out, and it almost, again, looks like they move. And it just so happens to be the direction that he kind of looks at, too. Interesting. That's right. Yeah, they have that rule because they first gazing at the stars. So yeah, they don't have a lot of light pollution. You're right. That's a great point. Yeah, that is interesting. And again, when you line it up, like they have a pool, and if it was the house, again, just to be fair, like again, these lights are somewhere right in here, and this home is level with more or less, at least the top part is level with this. So if the lights at best would be on something like a fence or this building, I'm not sure if it's wide enough to get that building. I think those lights, because you can kind of see the trees right next to the lights. It's like if it is a person, they are somewhere, and this would be a great spot. I mean, you're not in the street, just kind of saying if there was a lookout, I mean, you've got a great vantage point. You're kind of hidden behind these group of trees, and wait for your partner to first break in, and then I'm sure they have a signal, and then from there they both move in, or signal the driver. Maybe this guy's got a vehicle ready somewhere nearby, runs, grabs it, and yeah, many different scenarios. I mean, again, playing both devil's advocate. Again, if you guys know me, I try to be fair. I don't know about the pool light because the fence blocks it. But again, I don't know 100%. Need more data. But again, my estimate is whatever that is, it's in this area, and that would be a good lookout spot. Oh, thank you, Karen, for all. Yeah, I'll probably put this short little clip out, see what others can, maybe decipher from it. I'm sure I could probably get a few more measurements by measuring the street light, the street sign. Because yeah, you can see how the road goes up, so the terrain goes up. So yeah, Anyway, I'll have to do a little bit more digging into that. Reminds me of another case with nearly that kind of moonlight. But yeah, that HOA comment is great. Is he trying to cover his face with his hand? I'm sure. And that's why, to me, again, so now we kind of get to what they say. They say it's a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack, which to me I think would be a safe bet because, everybody shops Walmart, right? I think it'd be tough. Not to say it's not possible to maybe narrow down customers. The other thing that I wanted to do, which I had a little bit more time, is I was trying to look at clues. So what I did is I first played this video together because this is a before and after. I was just curious if there would be any clues. But I think if I already played the pathologist, they said that the blood pattern seemed consistent with maybe a head wound or a hand wound, and the blood droplets, since they're oval, indicate, kind of like if you had a nosebleed and you're walking around, this is what you would get. But here you can see that I flipped and rearranged it so they're lined up exactly the same. Doesn't look like the mat moved at all. It's still lined up with the same tiles, except with the foliage that I used to kind of block the camera. Could this indicate that maybe her injury is on the left-hand side? Because this would be the left as we're coming out. There's better minds when it comes to this kind of forensic, but that'd be interesting to maybe look at it like this. Golden Girl says, Golden Girly, I'm sorry. Watch when he put plant on camera, something reflects on the lower corner. Okay. Yeah, it would be indicate, obviously we don't know if it has a nosebleed, but that would be, obviously, if you had a nosebleed, the way the blood droplets are, would be oval, as it's just gravity. Yeah, maybe I can't believe anybody would hit, an elderly person. Shame on them. But I think they would definitely had to have a vehicle nearby to be able to pull this off without leaving way too much evidence. And that's why I don't think the gloves involved, because that would make just zero sense. You made it to the vehicle, then you're going to start throwing out, crucial evidence out the window, unless it was like altered evidence that would lead to something else. That's right. Yes, the tails would point the direction that they're going. The ones that we can see, obviously I've got flipped around. I know there's some better photos. It doesn't look like there's a lot of tails, but I'm sure if we zoomed in, you're right. The tails would point to the direction, like comments. They said it led to the edge of the driveway. Now, I don't know if they're saying, I guess the driveway would be this. So it's interesting that the blood stopped at the driveway. Did they, assuming it's they, attend to the wound? Or did they pick her up? Didn't she have some trouble walking, if I recall? Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. It is interesting that the blood droplets stopped there, almost as if there was a lookout. They knew there was like a signal. They knew once they got her out that they just then pulled up right into the driveway to take her out once they knew the camera. Then again, that also kind of points, if they did do that, then it would kind of, I would think, even lean more towards an inside job because, I mean, if there's a Ring camera and it's $1 million home, you would think, you know, at least a decent criminal would, you know, they pulled this off for this long, that they would think about other cameras and stuff like that. Nancy uses a cane. Oh, thank you, Kitty. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I heard that she needed some kind of assistance walking. Now, I'm assuming she was probably on blood thinner too. I mean, I don't know if we know for sure. I know blood thinners obviously are just like an alcoholic. They bleed very easily. They can get cuts. And so what may look like with all that blood, it may seem more serious than it was, just because maybe if she was on blood thinner, she would bleed more. Yeah, that's interesting. No tracks in the driveway. So, yeah, either they tended to the wound or maybe carried her to the street and then put her in, because I doubt they would go any further than the street. She was on blood thinners. I mean, that makes sense, right? So I do apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Is Tommaso Cioni? So one of, obviously, persons of interest in the public eye. We have the son-in-law to Nancy Guthrie. Who is also in a band called Something Black. So, of course, he was the one that drove her home. And some people thought maybe he, obviously being the last person to see Nancy, could have been involved in some way. Again, covering true crime for so long, usually these kind of cases, the person's connected in some way. Family member, extended family member, friends, co-workers, neighbors. Early black. Yeah, I was going to say that, but I wasn't going to. Yeah, early black. Worked as a biology teacher and then forming a band called Early Black, which I think was some kind of punk or something like that, grunge style. He's originally from Italy. I don't know if maybe that's how he found his other bandmates, because I believe the other one is Italian as well. Trying to think here. Of course, the sheriff Nanos has said that none of the family members are involved, and of course, they recently put out something that they gave them all polygraph tests. But again, and then also said that the close family members were not involved. But again, we've seen this happen in cases. This is just a safety net for them, in my opinion. But it does seem weird that they are being covered up. This is after Nancy went missing or was abducted. That is Annie on the left and Tommaso on the right. Kind of little sus that they're covering up. Yeah, the individual was somewhere around 5'8", 5'10". The thing that I think kind of at least clears him as being at least the individual in the camera is this guy seems like he's pretty tall. I don't know his height. I don't know if anybody knows exact height, but he seems really, when you standing next to everybody, he definitely seems like he's got close to 6 feet. Plus, he's got a huge beard, and his mustache is much fuller than the one that we see here. That doesn't mean that he couldn't have been, you know, a lookout or a co-conspirator. Yeah, safety net. I mean, yeah. I mean, they do that just in case somebody tries to run.
And we will pay to us so that we...
So here is the video. Just one little quick clip. I think it's 20 seconds.
We received your message, and we understand.
I think this is the second or third one they put out. Maybe week 2.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way.
He's tall.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
So then, of course, I know, again, I apologize if you've been following this case. This is the first time covering it on this channel, so I'm trying to kind of go over kind of the basic last 2.5 weeks. These are the bandmates. So we got Dominic Evans on the left, and then Walter Gonsalves Jr. on the right, and then in the middle is obviously Tommaso. So there is some speculation that maybe one or all three are involved. Some believe that maybe Dominic Evans could be the guy that we see in the surveillance video. This may be an unpopular opinion just as a guy. And it's tough to say because, again, there's not many photos. Again, I'd have to see more photos of this guy. And if you have, let me know in the chat. But he seems to have what we call, this guy's called the mustache gap. I don't really have that. I just have a trouble growing a mustache in general. But my best friend growing up had the mustache gap, and his 5 o'clock shadow would look something like this. Even looks like this guy's even kind of got the mustache gap, where Tommaso has no problem with the facial hair and the mustache. But I know Dominic does have the tattoo on his left wrist. Please correct me if I'm wrong in that chat. I did not get a chance to slow it down to where allegedly maybe a tattoo could be seen. Mose, oh, thank you so much. That's so awesome. The eyebrows, I agree. The eyebrows look the same. Now, again, it's tough to say. Like from this photo, I don't know. It's not the best photo. In my opinion, even zoomed in, it's tough. Like it does look like he has it coming in now that I kind of look at it more. I mean, you can even see the right in the middle. I mean, whoever this guy is, he's got a mustache, and I'm sure that's long gone now. Yeah, it's tough. Because that looks like my best friend in his 5 o'clock shadow. Again, it could be the lighting, and the hair is just kind of maybe not show up as well here, but it is kind of common for us guys not to have that hair under the nose. There's a word for it. I can't think of it at the time. But we just call it mustache gap. But what's interesting, if you don't know about Dominic, is he does have a record for burglary, robbery, embezzlement, and DUI. That DUI doesn't surprise me. Obviously, especially being in a band, I'm sure. But yeah, the burglary and robbery is definitely concerning. And I would say the eyebrows, yeah. I think the eyebrows, I could definitely see them for sure. It's tough to say because it like cuts right where, so it's tough to say if those are thicker and we're just kind of seeing the more or less like the bottom half or the 80% of the eyebrow, and we're not seeing the rest of it because where it cuts off. That's too bad. I do definitely think those line up, and I do believe that this guy would be around the same height as the person, so I would say that is close. Sparky too. I'm not saying it's Tommaso is the one at the door, but he's 5'9", as in the suspect. Is that who you're saying is 5'9"? Because I think Tommaso, if you're referring to Tommaso, he looks like he's taller than that. Again, I don't know the approximate height. Then we have Walter, who's definitely got some very thick eyebrows. Walter, I haven't had a chance to look up as much. I think a lot of the eyes have been on Dominic. Oh, thank you so much, Elaine, for the PayPal. Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you so much for the support. Am I wrong? Doesn't Dominic have a tattoo, or am I getting the wrong bandmate? Is the tattoo on the suspect? Did I get that wrong? I might have misread my text message. Hindsight, if you're still in the chat, is that tattoo you sent me? Is that from the video? Wait, hold on. Let me play this part.
Surrounding this case. Tonight here, investigators on a possible break in this case, that male DNA found on a glove, and Savannah Guthrie, the pain evident on her face, with a new post to the person who took her mother, as they now begin week 3 without their mother. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, in Tucson again tonight.
Okay, that's the suspect.
With the search for Nancy
Okay,
Guthrie now
thank
entering
you.
its 3rd week, and with the country still praying she's found, her daughter Savannah is making a direct appeal to the person who took her mother. 2 weeks of pain evident on Savannah's face.
And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing.
Oh, wow.
And we are here.
I didn't know that's where that came from.
And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
The Today Show host who has spoken of the nightmare
Wow.
her family's going through.
That is very interesting. Tattoo. The pickup truck come in. Curiosity. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's tiny. Interesting. This was not the best one. God, the one I got, you can actually see the tattoo. Wow, the one you sent me. I mean, you can't see much, but you can see. Yeah, on his right. That'd be his right wrist, right? So that's the one he's pointing towards camera, and it's somewhere here. That is fascinating. Wait, they were arrested at Culver's? Wait, what? Wait, what are we talking about? Culver's? No, there's nothing. What? Wait, what case are we talking about, Sassy? A great Range Rover. There was a Land Rover that was involved in this case, but wasn't that like from one of the neighbors? Not saying this is connected. Tucson Culver's. Arrest made at Culver's? Arrest made at Culver's. Tucson. No, that's Chris Range Rover. Yeah, when I kept saying, okay, that was a while back. Okay, all right. I'm like, usually Twitter would be all over that, with how big this case was. Yeah, that was when they took, like, I think that might have been the individual in my just let me know in chat if they ever figured out they took somebody in. This was like maybe week 1, between week 1 and 2. They took the Range Rover and an individual in for questioning and then released him. I'm assuming maybe that was the one that okay, gotcha. Okay. That's okay. That was Friday the 13th. Yeah, that's okay. Accidents happen. Nobody's perfect. Yeah, it is weird to hear Culver's though. It's because we don't have Culver's here in Utah. I don't know. Maybe there's one somewhere. Maybe in southern Utah. I don't know about. Anyway, okay. That's all right. It happens. So no arrests. That was just something that happened early on in the case. What time is it? Start at 6. We didn't even get into the Mexico thing. I'll just here. I'm going to turn this down. So Brian Enton, obviously, for those that may not be as familiar with the case or familiar, Tucson, the area where Nancy was taken, is only an hour and a half from the border. And I forget the exact the city name. But here Brian Enton went through, and so they kind of talked about how when you enter into Mexico, there's really nobody that stops you. If you walk in, there's like a turn gate. Is that what they call them? Turn gates? Turnstile. And then there is obviously, a little highway to enter in a specific town. Somebody knows in chat. Yes. Nogales? I probably butchered that, and I do apologize. We do have a Culver's? That's funny. Yeah, I never heard of Culver's until Sebastian Rogers. Anyway, Nogales, and I probably butchered it. But yeah, so when it comes to crossing the border, going into Mexico, there's practically nothing you don't have to worry about, being searched or anything like that. So technically they could have brought him in, but they couldn't walk there. I mean, they could, I guess, if they found some way to cross, somewhere there wasn't a wall. But to get in that particular city, there is the turnstile. Is that what they call them? And then if you wanted to go through the highway, there's cameras. So, I mean, that's still possible. But they would have had video of it. So it's not impossible. It's only when you're coming from Mexico back to the U.S. when you're kind of searched. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. I don't think the cartel's involved. Let me know what you guys think in chat. I think this is way too high Nogales. Yeah, I apologize if I butchered it. No offense. Lost my train of thought. Nogales. So when Brian Enton, what we're seeing here, if you didn't watch it, came out yesterday in the last 24 hours. He did speak to a bunch of the locals that are close in that city. They had not heard of the case. Apparently it's not been on their local news. I think there was like one reporter they found that kind of knows about it just because of the high profile case, but and then the government, I think the federales aren't looking into the case. But the cartel, that's what it was. Yeah, I don't think the cartel would do it because I just think that's just such a high profile that they wouldn't, Oh, Nogales. That's right. The O's don't sound like O's. Nogales. And I'm sure I probably butchered it. I do apologize. Nogales. But yeah, back to the cartel. Yeah, I don't think they would risk such a well-known figure or mother of a well-known figure, because the media attention would be just as it is. So, but it's not to say they couldn't have tried to go across the border, but at least for anybody that doesn't know, it doesn't seem like the locals really know, and it doesn't seem like the Mexican police are really investigating, because right now there is nothing that says they went over the border, but I think it's definitely possible. I don't think it's highly likely, but you never know. Oh, who's Luke Daly? Wait, or Daly? Wait, now that mustache is spot on. Hold on. Oh, wow. Let me save the image. That's going to be a web file. I hate those files. Let's see. Now, who is this guy? I didn't even look at. See, who is this guy? Oh, is this the guy that was brought in? Oh, okay. So the Friday the 13th, this was Luke was brought in. Okay, I see. With the Range Rover that was it Sassy was mentioned. Man, though, that mustache. Not gonna lie. Oops. What happened? Man, where's my screenshot? Screenshot. Oh, don't do that. Tough to say, but yeah, I just checked my email. Oh, did I get another one? Let's see. Nope. I got one from Jen. Wait, ooh. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I don't like what they did with this image because I don't know how they got this image. If I'm able to replicate that, and I know that that image is legit. So here's the only issue I have with this. I'll bring this up. This will probably freak you guys out. Is I don't know how they did this with the eyes. Wait, where'd this go? Oh, there it is. I don't know how they... Yeah, I feel like they did something with the eyes. I don't know. Unless there is a frame like this. And even then, we wouldn't know if the eyes were dark brown or black just because of the light camera. I'd have to see if this is real or rendered or some kind of altered in any way. No offense, Jen. That's still, if it isn't altered, then that's wild. I'll have to see if I can get that same thing. That was interesting. Do we ever see his mouth like that in the video? I don't know. I'll have to go back. I don't want to go too much longer. That's interesting though. If that's, yeah, because he's got that light in his eyes. Unless there's a frame that I've missed that. That doesn't have it. Let me read chat and then not the same guy. Yeah, I highly doubt. I mean, again, I have to look to see if they see when he does that. Yeah, see, I don't know how they got the lens. Well, it's not a lens flare, but out of his eyes like that. To me, that I don't know. And the way that those are so perfect. Not to say it's not impossible. I don't know. I'm a little sus of this. Not to say it's not true. That would be crazy though. Oh no, I'm not saying you altered anything, K-Gen. Please don't say yeah, no, I'm not saying that. Just the wherever it came from. Yeah, no. Yeah, please don't take that the wrong way. It just yeah, I've just never seen a frame like that where his eyes are like that. And I think a lot of people would use that if that was the case. Yeah. Oh, that okay. So AI, so if anybody doesn't know what AI, and that's probably what it was, and the issue with AI, and I knew it, there's there's symmetry. AI, what it'll do, it'll actually even take from other just eyeballs that it knows, and it'll kind of filter it in. And I thought it was interesting that it both has the exact same lighting in his pupil there. And I thought that was too perfect, too with the symmetry. Not to say it can't happen. But yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That it was probably touched up. And AI will smooth out pixels. So if like there was more white and you tried to say, hey, I want to see more of his eye color, it would then kind of fill out the pixels around it. It'll smooth it out. If people used a lot of AI, know what I'm talking about. That's kind of, again, that's where AI there's can have flaws because it tries to touch up things and it'll actually kind of change it. But yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. All right, I think I'm going to head out. I wanted to go over a little bit of the Mexican stuff or the Mexico stuff, but I mean, right now there's no actual leads to suggest she made it out there, but I still think it's definitely possible because it's just right there. There's different kinds, Bojo. So it just depends on who is asking what AI to do what. So again, it's the era of AI. It's great. It's a double-edged sword. So what AI? I know it's yeah, and it's only going to get better and worse as AI floods the web, our lives. Kitty, if you want to email them to me, but I will definitely cover this, and I'll try to release that video, the surveillance with the stuff, and if I can see any more. Again, this is my first day covering it. Hopefully, I did it semi-justice. I'm sure I know I'm mispronounced some cities and not confident on dates and all the players because I'm still learning everything. But yeah, we'll definitely touch on this again and keep an eye on it. And then, of course, as most of you know, covering Sebastian, should be back tomorrow. Try to make up because I missed a good chunk of February, or at least a week or so. So, and then pets. I have gotten most of the pets. I told you guys that I was collecting those. You did send them in recently. I responded back to you. So, hopefully the next live show I will have the new pet outro. Oh, thanks, Miriam. Yeah. Can only get better from here. But thank you to everybody being very kind and awesome in the chat. Mods, God bless you guys. March, we will do mod appreciation. We can do something around St. Patty's or something. I can't remember when St. Patty's is. I know it's in March, but yeah. So with that, I am going to end it there, guys. Play the pet outro, and I'll have a new one, hopefully, during the next live show. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good night to all. God bless. Be safe. Thank you to those that, especially those that could donate. Sassy, thank you so much for gifting a couple Mob Crew memberships. Blue Third, thank you so much for the $5. Angel of Light, thank you so much. And Elizabeth, thank you so much for the membership. Denise, God bless. And I'm going to forget the name on the PayPal. Elaine, God bless you. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. And we'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. God bless you guys.
Call the secrets from your